Greetings and welcome to the 1/6 Scale Man proudly presents Say What, and this is going to be spoiler talk with friends for none other than Shang-Chi. So it's a special night. I brought a group of individuals, are pretty much experts. I want to call them experts when it comes to the lore. And yeah, we're going to kind of dive in here and get it going for everybody. Again, it's going to be a very, very, very interesting discussion. We want to kind of stick to this. And mind you, I did say spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, it is not my fault if you hear things that you did not want to hear. That means that you weren't supposed to be here. But if you are here, then that means you were supposed to be here. So let's go. Let's actually meet the panel that I actually have with us tonight. How's everybody doing, man?
Good.
Good, man.
Fantastic. Glad to be here, man. Thanks.
That's what's up. So tonight I am blessed to actually have my family. You know what I mean? And this is, when I say family, this is blood family. My man Corey and his wife, his beautiful wife Nicole, and look at that shirt she got on. I love that shirt too. Let's see. There you go. You know I love that shirt. And they are basically part of Road Tripping with the Rouge.
That's correct.
Yes. So Road Tripping with the Rouge. Like, I love this show. If you haven't actually followed it, go follow it now. You can follow them on Instagram. You actually have your show on YouTube. Is correct? Is right?
Yeah. That's correct.
So there we go. You follow it as well. Great content. They do reviews on not only just the MCU films, but also Disney Plus. Anything that's actually comic related, this is where you want to go. So how y'all doing tonight?
I show my shirt some love too. Shang-Chi style. Got the Kung
Fu. Okay.
Oh, that works.
Okay, let's go. I couldn't see your shirt, but I'm glad you got it up there, man. Appreciate that, bro. Definitely appreciate that. Next to him, we got my man, the one and only Vinsanity, Vinny, the man with the secret room himself, Vice Lord Vinny. What's going on with you, bro?
What's going on, brother? Just loving it. All this amazing shit coming out. Shang-Chi was, oh man, I can't wait to get into it. It's martial arts night, man. That's my kind of night.
Yes. I mean, it was a phenomenal film once we jump in. And like I said, this is spoiler. Again, this is spoilers. We are talking spoilers. So we're going to dive deep. What we have right here is my man, the one and only. Now, he changed his name to the Chicken Dish. But you know him. You love him. It's Jetta Patrol. A.K.A. the master enabler, the man who's probably responsible for at least, I'd say, a good 20% of what I actually have here beside me. That's a high 20%. Yeah, that's high 20%. So I'm placing that label on you. So how you doing tonight, bro?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. I've been running and gunning all day long, so it's nice to just kind of sit and chat. So glad to be here. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, man, definitely. Glad to have you here. And then last but not least, we have, the guy, Brendan Riley, who's actually, he's responsible for the other 70% of what's basically going on behind me. What's going on with you, bro?
Well, I don't care. I didn't have to pay for it. It's good, man. I enjoyed the hell out of this movie. I managed to get through whole stream the night before I went to see it with you and Will just slapping your lips talking about it nonstop. Couldn't give me 12 hours to just go see the damn thing, but I did. I saw it. It's great. Yeah, anybody who I saw it on an IMAX theater, like virtually like empty theater. I went Friday morning and seeing it on an IMAX screen, man, it was intense. It was a really good movie. I enjoyed it a lot.
Good, man. Good. I'm glad, man. It's, like I said, an excellent movie. So because of that, we're going to dive in. We're just, that's what we're here for. We're going to dive in. We're going to talk about this movie because, again, that's why we're here. Listen, for all of you that don't really know, Shang-Chi made his debut in 1973. Now, here's the thing. He's based off of an actual character that we and anybody else who've actually been a part of like the 80s realm, there was a show basically called Kung Fu. Now, Kung Fu it made his debut with David Carradine, but before David Carradine took the role, it was actually supposed to go to Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee turned it down, and they gave it to David Carradine. So this is what this is loosely based off of. They actually originally wanted to do a comic book version of Kung Fu, but at the same time, Warner Brothers owned the rights to Kung Fu, so they couldn't do it. Therefore, they created Shang-Chi. And this was basically his introduction. Now, me myself, I had no idea. And you could have never told me, coming up, through the years that we would actually see a live action version of Shang-Chi. So to finally have him on screen and that debut to be the way we've actually seen it, it was phenomenal. So I'm going to pass this down first to Corey and Nicole. I know you saw the film, before we actually jump and dive, and I know you saw the film. What were your thoughts about it from the rip, from just seeing it from the rip?
Go ahead. You first.
10 rings. I give it 10 rings.
Yeah, 10 rings.
yeah.
Top level origin story.
So
solid.
In our review, I went out on the limb and I said it might be the best origin story since the first Iron Man. It was that good, and I loved the way that it kicked off Phase 4. It was the perfect way to kick off the fourth phase.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, it's not that often that when you walk into a theater, and me and Vinny, we actually saw it on the first day on Thursday, and we were speechless the entire time. And it was the best.
Yeah.
This was the kickoff. This initially kicked off, like you said, next phase. And I'm so happy to see that. Vinny, we didn't really get a chance to talk because I had to leave and jump in to that nice discussion, man. Like, what did you think? I know what you thought, but what was your mind frame at that point, bro?
Yeah, martial arts films hold a special place in my heart. So it's been really special watching Marvel, check off boxes of different genres. And we've seen a Star Wars S film, and we've seen a horror S film. We've seen all these different types of Marvel films as we're trying to spread out the different types of offerings that they're giving to fans to keep the superhero genre fresh. And so we get to Shang-Chi, which is also another cultural box for them to check off that's very important. And especially considering in Hollywood now, there's very limited offering for Asian culture when it comes to action movies, and not like it used to be in the 70s or 80s or even 90s. It's been a nearly 20-year gap since we've had a strong martial arts star like a Jet Li or Jackie Chan. There's a huge hole there to be filled. So for this to be such a strong martial arts film and a Marvel film together, the biggest question for me was going to be, what's the Kung Fu like? Is it going to be Hollywood Kung Fu, or is it going to be Kung Fu?
Right.
Mm-hmm. That first action scene we got to see in that bus, you and I, we dapped it up because we're seeing an actual Kung Fu film with the Marvel, vehicle behind it. And then it didn't let up. For 2 hours, we got to see an actual mainstream Hollywood, big budget popcorn martial arts flick, flow with the guys of the Marvel, brand, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was such an important character. It was generated back with the kung fu craze back in the 70s that died off, and this is to me hopefully some kind of spark of life to bring that back, because it was such a part of my life. And to this day, as you know, I still have martial arts marathons. Like every year we get together and we watch old Kung Fu flicks and new Kung Fu flicks. And I try to keep that, alive because I love the genre. So it's such an amazing movie. The pacing was phenomenal. There's not a second I felt like it was, dragged. The special effects were phenomenal. The comedy was just peppered in. It wasn't over the top. And I think one of the greatest things is they let it be Shang-Chi's movie, and they didn't lean on the tie-ins to the Marvel mythos, kind of like Black Panther. They let it be his, with just a little spring of the MCU to tie it in, to keep that built into that world to set off Phase 4. But they didn't rely on the other Marvel superheroes to push this movie. They let it be his movie, and it was such an experience. It wasn't just a movie; it was an experience for me. I'm so happy we got it. And after going on kind of the drought that we just went through, and no offense to Black Widow, but I didn't really count that as a new Marvel movie this year. This was the jump off for Phase 4. This was Marvel movie. It was everything that I hoped for, and then plus some.
Agreed.
Definitely.
It was like Ip Man meets the MCU.
Exactly. Not like not American kung fu movie. It was like a Hong Kong kung fu movie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that shout out to Andy Chen, who was the action choreographer who did a lot of Jackie Chan movies. And you seen that from the jump off with the bus scene when him, the way he fought, the way he moved. That wasn't an American film. This wasn't Marvel formula action scenes. This was they brought in more actual action choreographer from China and who knew his stuff, and we got to see someone who's not necessarily one of the big kung fu names. Like they didn't bring in a Don Yen or a Kao Uis or a Jackie Wu. They brought in a relatively newcomer who had to learn a lot of kung fu in a relatively short amount of time, and he pulled it off. And spectacularly so, with actual Chinese martial arts. We got to see some Tai Chi, we got to see some Wing Chun. Michelle Yeoh, I'm sure, like helped with that, and it's like it was a kung fu joint, and that I just is all I needed, and it was that and then some. So all the extra stuff was just bonus on top. I'm just beyond blown away by it.
Yeah, exactly. Brendan, man, I know you didn't actually get a chance to see it the first day. You actually saw it. Yeah, you didn't get a chance to see it the first day, so you had to kind of sit through like the whole banter back and forth and hearing everybody talk about how great it was, which gave you that extra push to go to the theaters and check it out, man. So, I know you basically messaged me about it, but we didn't get a chance to talk in detail about it. But here's your platform, bro. What's your talk?
I had to go see it. Yeah, I had to go see it the next day so I could, because I couldn't get the two of you to shut the fuck up. But yeah, man, I absolutely loved it. It was the best way I can describe it. It was fun. Yeah. It was a fun movie going experience, and I hadn't been in a movie theater in almost 2 years now. It was just fun. Yeah, and I missed that, and I saw it on an IMAX screen. Marvel has this great way, in my opinion, of mixing comedy and action and the character service that we want from the books that we've been reading for decades. I thought that they did that perfectly. It never felt campy. It felt funny without being like, all right, here, pump the brakes on that a little bit. Like, this is getting kind of ridiculous. Never felt like that. There were a couple of things in it that I mean, well, it's a comic book movie, so obviously you have to suspend disbelief in certain areas. There are a couple things like, Awkwafina's character, obviously she was going to turn into Hawkeye all of a sudden and make that shot, hitting the dragon in the throat right at the critical moment. But I don't care. Like I'm totally fine with her all of a sudden, becoming a marksman there and hitting that shot because it just worked. It was they had earned the leeway, and that's the thing. You get to a point where certain things you're like, oh come on, really? That's gonna happen. But they earned it with us. They earned the cred because of everything that they did before that we were on board and we were like, you know what? This is a fun ride. Yeah. I'm okay with that one little kind of all right, man, that was a 1 in a million shot. She had it. I don't care. I think, other than that, I just wish there was more Michelle Yeoh. I love her so much. I think she's a smoke show. Just gonna say it. That's my opinion. And she's a great actress. Her physicality, she's just, I absolutely love seeing her on screen. So it was really cool to see her in a Marvel movie. It's weird. It didn't feel like an origin movie. Like, when you go into like a character that but like, it's like, okay, this first movie, is going to be an origin story. Just like, the first season of Daredevil on Netflix is an origin story. The first Iron Man. It didn't feel like an origin story. It just felt like it was just a natural way to introduce the character to the MCU. And we weren't, other than like, some of the training, with Michelle Yeoh toward the end, this wasn't like somebody learning to use their powers for the first time or, it was just a guy who was badass and was raised that way and it was I top to bottom. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I really did. So I'm super psyched for what this means for the character moving forward in the MCU. I can't imagine that we don't get a sequel to this. It was so well done. And they put a lot. I mean, they put $200 million into this movie. I don't see them just having him appear in like Avengers movies and stuff later on. I feel like he's going to, play an important role in the MCU moving forward. But I feel like we're gonna get another feature that's just Shang-Chi, and that is something I'm super happy about because I was afraid it would be a one and done. After seeing this, there's no way. They're definitely going to do another one, and I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's impossible to think that they would only do just one. And now, like I said, especially since what we found out, people were lowballing this film. They didn't basically think that it was projected to only make, and a lot of people are only saying that it was going to make only like 40 million.
Over 60, right?
It's actually over 70 million right now. What I mean? For and it's broke the record for a Labor Day weekend opening. So I mean, it's phenomenal, bro. Like this is
awesome to see it packed.
Yeah, like it was I mean, what else can you say about it? Like this film was just phenomenal, man. Hey, chicken dish, man. It was crazy because the night that we went and saw it, you messaged me and was like, there was no words. All he said was 10 out of 10. That was it.
What else can you say?
He just said 10 out of 10. Like, yeah. What did you think, bro?
Dude, that was the first film I've seen in a theater in about 2 years, and I'm glad I was able to see it in the IMAX. I would have been just fine watching it at home. That would have been fine with me too. But they forced me to go see it in the theater in IMAX, and I'm not upset at that at all. I think that was fine. But it was nice to have a theater that was pretty much empty, and not a bunch of Rugrats screaming and clapping. So that was cool.
So you just saw it by yourself, like it was almost empty.
There might have been 10 people in there.
Okay,
maybe.
Okay,
so it was pretty nice. But I will tell you that, like I said, I went into it not knowing any trailer information. I didn't watch anything. I knew it from the comics, a little bit of history from the comics, not a whole lot. And I obviously knew Simu Liu from Kim's Convenience.
Kim's Convenience, so yes.
That was good.
Yes.
And so it was interesting seeing him, being a totally different character and being badass. But that first fight scene on the bus, was fantastic way to kick it off. I mean, just fantastic way to kick it off. Yeah. And then they had the do a flip guy. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
From Spider-Man, like he's a comedian, like
it was
crazy.
Amazing.
Yeah,
it was great. He was like sitting there vlogging while he's doing all like that. That was some, because you could totally see somebody doing that.
Right. You could
totally see.
He was like, I do a little kung fu, so I'm just going to give you a playback.
I'm gonna rate their form.
Yeah.
Nicole said that was me on World Star.
What'd you say?
Nicole said that was me on World Star.
And I can see it, and I believe it.
It was a poor man's Joe Rogan, and it worked. It was amazing.
It was great. And it wasn't like over the top CGI in the first fight. Obviously, it was some there, but it wasn't over the top. But it was like Jackie Chan and then Speed, like put together.
Yeah.
It was great, man. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah.
So it was awesome seeing that we didn't have to watch him like learn how to fight. He already knew how to fight. It was an original story without it completely.
But it was cool how they kept it a surprise for Awkwafina's character for Katie, because she was like, "What? You know how to fight? What? That was cool."
I was dreading them pretending like he didn't know anything about martial arts until this movie, and then he just had to learn how to be a martial arts fighter in 2 hours. That would have been horrible. Yeah.
So that definitely would have been Hollywood kung fu.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, it was nice to see him get right into the fighting as well. I enjoyed that. So,
like, and like I said, I mean, we got the opening pretty much of the film. Like, from what we saw, And I like the simple fact that it went back and told us the history of his father. You know what I mean? Like we got the history of, you know, how that began, his rule, history on Ten Ring cells. You know, I like that flashback piece because that opening scene was epic. Like that was crazy. Like, bro, like just seeing that, because the thing is, it was unexpected that they would just dive strictly into like just the origin, you know what I mean, of that particular character, and just jumping into it, seeing it like on screen, how it's played out. You know, him, you know, it's really explaining, like even like this, the explanation of, you know, his father, like we talked about yesterday, he wasn't, I don't want to call him just someone that was dehumanized. He was human. Like we saw him as a human being, like his flaws, his emotional attachment to his wife, you know, his disdain of, you know, his son not following, you know, what he thought, but still loved his father, and his distaste for his daughter because she looked like to him, reminded him of his wife. But it was just amazing, just from the rip. Just how did you feel about the opening scene, Corey and Nicole?
So, for me, the only thing that was missing in this movie was a Stan Lee cameo.
Of course.
I feel like it was beyond.
I thought they might have CG'd one in, but they didn't.
I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't. But you know, to your point, as far as his dad, I love the fact that we were able to just go in. Yes, he's, you know, thousands of years old, because we were kind of, you know, prepped for it via Ego and Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And if you go back to the Iron Man, you know, movies, you hear them reference Genghis Khan, and you're like, wait a minute, that's him, that's the Mandarin.
Right.
They've kind of conditioned us that we're game for the impossible.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they've done that over a decade.
So for me, it was like the father had a Killmonger vibe to him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He's the bad guy, but you feel sympathy for him. Marvel has a way of you relating to the character. Like,
absolutely.
Yo, I don't like the way he's going about this, but he has a point.
He has a point. Yeah.
It's the Marvel difference. Like, you know, when you said you left the movie theater speechless, I left the movie theater with the Birdman hand rub, because after Endgame, I didn't know who our Avengers were going to be.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I'm ready, and I'm ready for the Eternals. I'm ready for the Phase 4. I think Marvel builds such depth in their characters, even ones that aren't really known in the comic book world.
Yes.
That separates them from DC.
Yes.
Right? DC doesn't have that depth, where Marvel, you're all in.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
and that's
DC
the thing
has depth that they don't use, though.
Exactly.
DC
Absolutely.
has the villains, and the villains they just don't tap into. And they've got them, and that's the thing. It's like, instead, you know, and that's one of the comparisons that I made when I was talking to Will earlier. That whole kind of finale at the end of Shang-Chi, I loved. It was beautiful. There was the CG, the practical effects, the action. It all just worked really well. Meanwhile, DC does things like, and it made a ton of money, I know, and a lot of people liked it. I wanted to love Aquaman, and I did not vibe with it the way that I really, really wanted to. And I felt like that whole finale at the end of Aquaman, it was just a CGI orgy on screen, and there was just so much going on. I didn't know what the hell I was supposed to be looking at any given time. And there were no stakes for me. I just didn't feel, it's like Black Manta, which could be a great villain, got reduced to a guy that you just kind of like smack aside when you're trying to get to the real fight, and which is horrible. And then King Orm, like, I mean, man, it was like the guy gave me an Ambien. I was just dozing. I had no interest in him whatsoever. He was not menacing. He wasn't a villain that I really gave a crap about, right? This is the exact opposite. This, you had a perfect meld of CG and action and character in that big battle finale at the end of Shang-Chi, with characters that I actually cared about. And that's the kind of thing that Marvel does that DC does, you know, once in a blue moon.
Yeah.
They can make you care about the most obscure character. That's the that Marvel.
And I think their thought process too is that they've got the Disney engine behind them. So when they do a movie, they're also thinking, can we make this a land in one of our parks? Right?
Yeah.
So they don't, go too extreme. For example, what they did with Pandora, Avatar's Pandora. It's amazing. And so you could see, if you go to Disneyland, there's Avengers Campus. I could see a Talo in Disney.
Yeah, definitely.
Easily. Same thing with Wakanda. And I think
with all those creatures, absolutely. Like, it would be so cool.
Yes. Yeah. And they could do it because they've shown us that, we wait in line for 3 hours to jump on a Banshee in Pandora. So I think the way that they set it up is not just for the movie. They want to honor the comic
Absolutely.
books.
Marvel and Disney are playing 3-dimensional chess, and and DC is back there like playing checkers on the cardboard cutout board.
I mean, I think they're playing Connect Four.
No, they're still playing Tic Tac Toe.
After Suicide Squad, I don't know what they're playing besides themselves.
I mean, Suicide Squad was great. I loved it, but
it was a one-off film that has no
and
there's no attachment to anything.
Exactly, that's what DC and Warner Brothers are doing. Is basically one-shots. They're doing one-shots.
They don't know how to build a cinematic universe.
Right,
they're doing how to do it.
They're doing one-shots, and some of them are good, and most of them aren't. Yeah. Whereas when Marvel does a one-shot, it's as a special feature on a Blu-ray or something that's just going to give you a hint about the really badass thing that they're about to do. It's just like they're so many steps ahead, and I love that because for like old school comic book geeks like Vinny and Lyle and myself, we're like guessing like, oh wait, they're gonna do that, and like it doesn't ruin it, it makes it better because I'm like so psyched about the different possibilities and I'm seeing what they could be doing, and I'm ecstatic, and I absolutely love that feeling. Because they're plunging into the source material, and they're like, we're not going to give it to you exactly the way you know it, but we're going to give it to you in a way that you're going to be happy because we're still going to respect the source material. You're not going to be upset about this.
Right.
They mashed like 5 or different comics together into that one.
But they don't insult the intelligence of their fans, right? They honor their fans. So when I think of WandaVision, I think of the Multiverse of Madness, and how many times they paid homage to it. You just have to be grateful. Like, really and truly, they really put thought in, okay, we're going to put this Easter egg because we know.
All the House of M stuff, the wine bottle label and the tie clip and everything, Yeah. It's amazing.
And that's in there for the nerds. That's not in there for the casual. That's not for the casual film watcher. That's in there for the nerds.
They right. Slowing the speed down. They know we're going back. They know
it's all in there for us, but at the same time, for anybody watching that doesn't pick up on that stuff, everything is still going to make sense as it unfolds. So they're doing the best on both sides, the best of both worlds. I mean, they're just. I mean, I never thought in a million years back in 2008 when Iron Man dropped that this would be a thing the way it is right now. I don't think anybody did. And just with that one little like cameo at the end of Nick Fury coming in, that again, they didn't plan to do the Avengers and Nick Fury and the MCU after that. It was just, let's just do this and see what happens. He wasn't signed to a multi-picture deal at that point. They were just like, let's fuck around. Let's see if people like this. And here we are. Now, I mean, how many billion-dollar movies have they made so far? Right. Nobody thought that comic book, come on, like Marvel's going to have a studio for like 3 movies and then they're going to be done.
Yeah.
Look at them now.
Once they made everyone care about the Guardians, I knew it was over.
Absolutely.
Yeah, pretty much. It was just like an open forum then. Vinny, what did you basically think about the opening of this film? Like, just how it began. Coming from somebody like Vinny, who's just like the chicken dish, who doesn't watch trailers, who went in, just did not watch a trailer at all.
I don't watch trailers at all, so it makes the actual in-theater experience so much more enjoyable to me. And of course, with the title, it alluded to that we'd see the 10 rings again. And as a comic book fan, Mandarin and the Ten Rings is an entirely different deal than we've seen in the Marvel Universe so far. Obviously, it seemed like it was going to be set up as a separate, classification with the One Ring cell and Iron Man, and then it got switched up a little bit to the Ben Kingsley switcheroo, bait and switch, and then it was announced that was in one of the previous one shots on one of the video releases that was a fake out, and that we may see actual Mandarin in the future. And then with the title of this film, it was like, oh, are we actually going to see the actual Ten Rings? So the opening of this film with the jump off with the Ten Rings being used as an actual powerful, relic. It was very interesting, but of course, it still was separate from the comics, which of course they're actual rings that go on Mandarin's fingers, and each of them have separate elemental powers like ice and fire and matter manipulation and psychic powers and vortex powers, and these are things that I was like, is that one of the uses for the rings? And then he'll do more later, and then he kind of only used it in that certain power set type of way. But then fast forward to the end of the film with Wong saying, okay, the rings are sending out a beacon, which means that we're not just going to see more delving of Shang-Chi's and family story in future films. We may see more of the origin of the rings in future films, and we may come to find out that Shang-Chi's father just didn't know how to unlock the rest of the power of the rings.
Yeah. Especially knowing that what we know about the 10 rings and each, and it's, it's so many different power scales of those rings that he has not unlocked. And we only just saw one, which really was nothing. So, yeah.
Because he was only focused on one end game, one goal of just being powerful and having those armies. He didn't.
Because Mandarin in the comics, he was so intelligent. He had different motives. He was a, well thought out character. He had different motives and operations and what he was doing. So we may see, because of Shang-Chi's, obviously set up to be springboard into something big here, we may see an evolution of the artifact itself as opposed to just an evolution of him, which is incredible because there's only so much to the regular viewer that of martial arts that he's going to be able to do, that we may be able to see him do a different technique, like if he does capoeira in the movie, or if he does Thai boxing in the movie, that might be different to us, but normal viewer might see it. However, if he has these weapons in the film, then that might be something that introduces new powers in the film, and of course new toys and merchandise, which is just like the parks, something
that's what we're really here for. I mean, come on.
True story.
This is all a machine to generate revenue. Let's not kid ourselves. So we may see the other powers of the rings as in future movies too, which I'm really excited for. But at base level, it was amazing just seeing that we weren't going to just see a ground level, because Shang-Chi is a ground level, like this or Daredevil. Like he's not. He doesn't have superpowers, but this lets them infuse a little bit of superpowerness into a street level, type of character, which opens the door for him to be able to walk two different paths. He's going to be able to mix in with stories that are on the ground level with a Luke Cage type of story, and he's also going to be able to hold his own when they fight someone like the Black Order.
I need Shang-Chi and Daredevil. I need those two. Like,
that's the beauty of it. He's going to be able to walk both.
I need Shang-Chi and Danny Rand. Give me Danny Rand. Come on, give us the good, decent Danny Rand.
I agree that we want him.
Yeah, not the one from Netflix. A really good Danny Rand.
That's why I think a Daredevil is more likely, because I think Marvel right now thinks in terms of on-screen presence, Daredevil is going to be a bigger asset to them. It's going to be an easier sell.
The actor is perfect for that role. It's Charlie. Yeah, it's perfect for that role.
Yeah, although I honestly don't think it'll be him.
That would be sad, because it's like casting another Punisher. Like it would be
I mean, we talked about this on another stream, though. I absolutely love Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock / Daredevil. I loved the Netflix series. I would be totally on board to see him in the MCU, but at the same time, I'm such an OG Daredevil fan that I showed like artwork from like the current run and stuff, and I would absolutely love to also see that more acrobatic kind of classic look Daredevil in the MCU as well, because we haven't gotten to see that. And so for me, it's like, I'll be happy either way, and I won't be disappointed either way they go. It's like, as much as I love Charlie Cox, if they go a different direction and try and go more classic comic book, I'll be okay with that too.
Yeah.
You like Ben Affleck, right?
So
dude, I said, look, Ben Affleck, and I think he proved it as Bruce Wayne Batman. Ben Affleck could do that character really well. He was just in a bad Daredevil movie. But I still 100% think that he can do that character very well. People didn't think he was going to be good as Batman, and a lot of people love him as Batman now and think that he was one of the best parts of Batman v Superman and all that.
Nope, we're not doing that today. We're not flooding this whole, because we're not going to get into a whole DC discussion, because we already know that we're going to stay on this
Shang-Chi. I just want to point out that it was Ryan of all people who brought that in.
Chicken dish real quick, man. Like, seriously, like, you saw the opening. You saw basically where this, I mean, just the fight, you know, right off the back in the very beginning. You know, put it this way, like, I went into this film really, really, really optimistic but skeptical at the same time, because, you know, the choreography, especially for martial arts and on a scale of Shang-Chi, this is what I want to actually see. You know what I mean? I want to see it done right, especially when you have certain actors in this film that you had in here. A lot of people didn't even know that. Okay, so here's the thing. The character who basically played the death dealer in this film, do you know who he was, really?
The person in the mask, no.
The person in the suit was the little kid who fought Will Smith's son in Karate Kid. He was the dude. He's grown up now, but it was that individual. And I did not know that, but it was him. Yeah, I didn't see it coming. But what did you feel about it, man?
I like I said, I enjoyed every minute of it. It was good to see all the little Easter eggs in the I guess the compound whenever they did all the fighting.
Yeah.
We had the extremist guy, from Iron Man 3.
Exactly. Yeah.
I was like, okay, so they didn't all explode then. There's still
exactly.
We saw a Black Widow there.
Yes.
We saw, Abomination and Wong. Those were fantastic. I mean, it was. I wanted to spend some more time there.
Right.
I was like, let's just tap the brakes. Let's watch some fights here.
Let's watch all the fights we need, bro.
That would have been fun. But I think all those little bits and pieces and little Easter eggs they threw in that scene particularly was great. And then they got out on the freaking scaffolding and went all parkour on us. Jackie Chan.
And Chris Tucker back in on.
Rush Hour 2.
Rush Hour.
Yeah.
So I kept thinking exactly. I was thinking like Rush Hour, and then I was going. At the same time, I had that scene from The Office where they're practicing parkour in the office. They're doing flips on the couch and stuff, and like parkour. So I kept thinking about that. It was great. I enjoyed it. Every minute of it. What I was looking for in the film more than anything was, and I pretty much do this with every film, was I entertained for however long it was? Was I entertained? And I was. It was fantastic.
Yes.
I really want to go see it again. So I'll probably make time to do that this week sometime. So.
Well, you got time. You said you're on vacation, right?
Yes, I am.
But he's got a lot of building to do.
So you got a lot of building and
I'm almost done.
Hey, Leo, I want to touch on something that Vinny has said about unlocking the powers. Rings. I'm thinking, the aunt showed him he had to open his hands to, so maybe that has something to do with it. If you see it, the Mandarin was closed fist. He was just brute force everything. Right. And that's how Shang-Chi was at first, because how to fight. Until his aunt said, listen, you got to smooth it out a little bit, open those hands up. So maybe that'll be part of how he gets to unlock different powers of the rings.
That's a good point. That's definitely a good point, because she's teaching him
and was something that's possible to do, because he was too focused on just war.
Right.
Which is really good too, that they didn't just try and cram everything into this movie. They left room for it to breathe in subsequent movies. It wasn't like, all right, boom, here's everything he can do. Like now all of a sudden he's just he's leveled up. There's a lot of room for him to grow and a lot of room for him to increase that as he kind of comes onto the same level as like a lot of the Avengers.
Yeah. And it was like a hint of that, like you kind of, I felt like, you know, his wife, that's what she was trying in a sense to show him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think, you know, intentionally, I think that's probably what she was trying. She saw the potential.
Yep.
She saw what he possessed. And I think she had more of an understanding without really knowing of, you know, what he could possibly be than what he was. But he was, you know, so captured by her that, you know, he was willing to give up everything, you know, just to be with her at that particular point. So it was like a way of sacrificing that side of him for that. But she was like, well, you know, we see this, the warrior's way in you. So like, let me help you. Let me teach you.
Right.
And I think you're right. Like, you know, with now even, you know, Shang-Chi's aunt, like now being able to show him certain things, to help him develop.
And we have we know he's the direct descendant of the dragon protector.
As the dragon. Exactly. Exactly. Now the thing is, again, go on record that people have to understand that where they were was not part of you know, what was it, the seven heavens?
It's like a different realm.
Yeah, it was a totally different realm, so it wasn't part of the seven you know, heavens at that point. So, you know, just keep that in mind. This was a totally different realm, but at the same time, it makes sense, especially with continuity. It just kind of makes sense to be a start off. So,
right, and the rings changed colors once he got them.
Yeah, yeah,
That
exactly.
also made me think that might be where they're going with it. So
Mhm.
I also love you guys mentioned about Easter eggs earlier, and they also did have a poster of Kung Fu Hustle on the wall, which was like a little nod to the rings from the Iron Tailor and that martial arts style. So that was like a great little nod too with that Stephen Chow classic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was dope.
You mentioned
like that
continuity, and one thing that I loved too was as his aunt was showing him, it's balance, right? It's all about balance, which we've heard from Thanos, which we've heard from Nick Fury. They keep that thread going. So I was thrilled to see him like, nope, open your hand. Yeah. More like water, less like rock.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see more of the skills.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's like him because we know Shang-Chi knows every form of martial arts known on Earth. So I think that basically what we're seeing now is that he's, you know, knowing that he's a descendant of the dragon and where he really originally belongs, now he has a place where he can kind of learn all that he needs to learn. And then on top of that, it doesn't, you know, hurt the simple fact that now he can learn certain levels of mysticism from Wong. You know what I mean? So that's what I love. I love the simple fact that, yo, Wong is just not a backseat character anymore. You know what I mean?
Dude, he got a massive pop in the theater that I was in. There weren't even that many people, but like Wong comes on screen and people are like, I want a Wong hot toy. Like, let's go.
Yeah, definitely. We do. We definitely need that. And I like the simple fact that now they finally fixed and gave us the right and true to the actual comics, true to source material, they gave us the right Abomination. Bro. He looked exactly like Abomination in the books.
Yeah.
Yep. So and apparently he's getting schooled by Wong.
He knocked himself out. That was great.
Yeah,
we saw that from Wong in Colin City, and when he lost the arm, he did the same thing again. So it was great.
So Nicole, I want to ask you a question. I'm going to put you on the spot here because I want your perspective of this. Because, like I said, everybody's been talking about it. It's been all over the net. The chemistry between Katie and Shang, like, you know, you basically see that chemistry. People are wanting this to be progressive. Some people say they want them to be together. Some people say no, we just want to see them flesh out the friendship, leave mystery. Again, we talked about it yesterday. Everybody doesn't want the same Raylo that we got from Star Wars. What they want now is to see that. So what do you think, like, what did you think about the chemistry between both Shang-Chi and Katie?
I thought, I love you 3000. I loved the build between Pepper Potts and Iron Man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wasn't sure that could be replicated.
Mm-hmm.
And with Awkwafina, she just gave me the vintage funny girl vibes that I was really here for.
Yeah.
I think that what we can do is they can just leave it subtle. Like if you see the post-credit scene where they're speaking to their friend, I think they kind of touched. They could let it play out.
Yeah.
I'd be here for it.
Yeah.
I'd be here for it. I'm here for the funny girl getting the guy. She was giving me the energy of like a Goldie Hawn, of like a Whoopi Goldberg, where you could be a funny love interest.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
You
know,
don't.
so
It
she's
doesn't
not
have to
all the funny
be.
girls.
Yeah. You can be a funny love interest, but sort of like, you can see that she has a bit of edge and toughness as
Yeah.
well. Like she was like, "Yo, I'm going with you." You know what I mean? Like you're not. No, I'm going with you. You explain to.
100%. She reminded me of Nicole, for real. That's how Nicole rolls. Like, she's funny. She can crack the jokes with the best of them.
Yeah.
But she's going to ride with you.
Yeah.
And I think they rolled it back. I think they received backlash with Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
Especially in Endgame. Like, we get it. I'm all for woman empowerment. Don't push it down our throat. Don't insult us. So I think they rolled it back a little bit, and I'm like, I'm here for it.
Yeah, they rolled it back, and they actually showed in this film. They demonstrated it so well, beautifully, where the women were strong in their own right and didn't have to prove anything.
Right.
They didn't have to make anything. Right. It was like the strength. What I liked was, the dynamics between Shang-Chi and his sister. Yeah. And it showed that they were both equally as strong. You know what I mean? And it wasn't like a hidden agenda to put her at the forefront to say that, yo, I'm better than you, just because. It's the simple fact that she just felt as though, look, I wanted to learn. I learned and I taught myself. But at the same time, giving them both an equal playing field. Yes. So I did love that.
Even when she beat him down in the ring, I didn't think twice about it.
Right. Well, listen to their audience, right? And there was such a great response for the Power Broker in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series that they gave her that Power Broker edginess.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
yeah.
I know how to do the right thing, but I also know how to get down and dirty with it. Right. And I was here. I really appreciated it.
I think I'm the only one who didn't have any issue with like Captain Marvel and like empowerment. That like I don't know, I was totally fine.
No,
that wasn't my favorite film. But.
No, it was a little cringy. This one, it was definitely an attempt, like you guys said, to make it feel more organic. Ironically, coming from a Chinese film, which would be stereotypically more thought of having women more in a subversive role, but they've made great strides in their kung fu films to have Asian warriors, and Michelle Yeoh was one of the obviously first female breakout martial arts stars. So it was fantastic to see her in the film and so many other strong female martial arts stars in this film without it saying we're awesome because men aren't. They're just awesome in their own right. And I think that is what a lot of people kind of have a problem with when the girl power scenes or women empowerment scenes are done. It's at the expense of a male role, and it's a fine line. Like it's just like Black Panther didn't come out and say Black Power because white people suck. It was just plain Black Power.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what was important to build this up without tearing this down. And that's what they managed to do.
It was the Infinity War scene. They did that one perfectly. Like,
right.
She's not alone.
Yeah, she's not alone. And then they started.
And I think, too, I was really happy to see you live and you learn. And we know that some of the depictions in the comics of the Asian culture were subpar, right? It is what it is. And I think, you know better, you do better. And this movie definitely
put it at the forefront. Yeah.
And it wasn't in a pushy way, but it was just like this was really a way to honor it.
Yeah. I think there was no other way that you could have actually honored the film, rather than have a complete Asian cast tell the story that they want to tell, from their perspective, and just give us. And here's the thing, what I liked was it kind of broke down stereotypical walls, because it was that one scene, and I loved it because everybody has this tendency to think that every Asian person knows the dialect. And that when the guy was talking to her, and she was like, "No, my Chinese isn't I'm not on point with that. Like, I really don't know it." It was just her saying, like, okay, just because I look a certain way doesn't mean that I accidentally speak that. Yeah, you know what I mean, like,
what was it that he said
Or
when
God knows how, and he was
when
like,
he
"I'm
speaks
Korean."
English?
Yeah.
he said,
What
"Oh,
did
I
he-
speak ABC."
I speak ABC. Yes.
Yeah, ABC. That's right. That's right.
Yeah, he said I speak ABC. But yeah, I think it was just nicely done at the simple fact that they did break down those walls to whereas we were so submersed within the actual culture, we got a chance to see even like in the beginning scene when we saw Shang-Chi, getting up, he was getting dressed, he was putting on his pants, his shoes and everything. Then they panned into the car. We thought it was him getting out of the car, then it pans him over to him. He's you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like they were just breaking down so many different things that you can see like these are just ordinary people just like everyone else. You know what I mean?
They're conditioned. They know we're conditioned that the superhero has to have the super car.
Yeah.
Right.
And then he's catching the keys to the valet.
They're like-
and then Aquafina gets in it and starts tearing up the street with it.
They're
Yeah.
like, not New York anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
Francisco. This is how
Yeah.
we do it in San Fran. So I really appreciated it.
Yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
little Ferris Bueller action there, taking
Yeah.
the taking the
Yeah,
car
there
to
was.
ballet.
There
I
it was.
also
You gotta go in reverse and get the miles off.
Yeah.
the cultural additions to the film with family, which is it's a huge thing in Chinese culture of the structure and family values. And when they went back to Shang-Chi meeting his father again, and after everything that happened, he just like, stood there and just was like, they had an embrace moment. And there was people in the theater was like, what? And it was just like, no, you don't understand. That's his father. It doesn't matter what he did. That's his father. And to many regular, sons, that your father can almost do no wrong no matter what happens. That's your dad. You respect him, and no matter how much you feel inside. In the Chinese culture, that's more of a across the board thing as opposed to a lot of the rebellion against our parents that happens in America, which is a big cultural difference that some people watching this might not understand. So that was an amazing scene for me because I know that is something that's really strong in their culture, and that I feel personally with as a son.
Yeah.
I completely got that. Like after everything that happened, your dad shows up and it's like, hi dad. Like you're back in your place, like you're 10 years old again.
You calm down.
Yep.
I think the scene where they're at Katie's house too was so authentic. Like, just the little things like having all of the shoes lined up at the door. You take your shoes off. That's just it. And so for someone that grew up there or grew up in that environment, you felt seen.
Yeah.
The same way with Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional place, but I'm a Wakandan citizen. Make no mistake about it.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody out there watching, don't forget to hit that like on this video, man, so we can get it up, post it. You know what I'm saying? Get the algorithm going. Let's go. Hit the like button.
Exactly. Hit that like button all day.
We need this from Hot Toys.
Well, see this is okay.
Has to be a thing.
This is where I was going with it. This is what I was going with it, and I want to start with Chicken Dish first, and I'm gonna get to you next, Brendan. But I'm gonna start with Chicken Dish first. Now, with this character and the Death Dealer was now look, anybody who's followed the lore and followed the books, they know that the Death Dealer had this was probably the only thing in the movie that kind of slightly let me down.
Yep.
The Death Dealer is a beast. He is a beast, bro. And the thing is, it's like they didn't show everything that this character was capable of and what this character could do. Like literally, there was a hatred between him and Shang-Chi. You know what I mean? And they didn't really dive into that. But Ryan, do you see or do you think that we will see this as a Hot Toys figure, bro?
Can I say, unfortunately, no? I don't think we will. I think they showed us the two we're going to get. I think that's going to be it. I would love to see it. I see somebody making it third party or something like that. But I think Hot Toys showed us the two we're going to get. And I think that's probably it.
Yeah.
Which is sad. But I agree. I would have liked to seen a lot more fight scenes with this guy. He was quite good, but it was brief. And they were like just short. They weren't epic battles or anything. But yeah, I think, like I said, just based on what Hot Toys has been doing lately, I think they showed us what we're gonna get, and I think that's it.
So, okay, so brings me to this, and so Brendan, like, what do you think about this character, bro?
I agree that there was a lot. There was a lot of meat left on the bone in terms of what his backstory is in the comics versus what we got in the movie. That being said, I understand why they did it. This movie was not. I mean, it had a lot of story. It was full. So I don't think that. I feel like if they tried to kind of ham-fisted push it into this, I feel like it would have felt overloaded. So I'm okay with what they did. I also think, I mean, they left it open that we can see more of this unfold in the MCU. They can do just about anything. I 100% believe that we're going to get this figure.
You think so?
100%. I'm not saying immediately. I'm saying it might be like a kind of.
While you talking, I'm gonna put this up for Corey and Nicole so they can actually see the magic that we are submersed in. I'm gonna put this up real quick. This is what you guys need to take a look at. What are you looking at right here?
Wow.
Hands down, I legit think that this is the best, most accurate head sculpt that Hot Toys has ever done. Now, it's the prototype. We don't know what the final product is going to be.
Yeah.
But even going just by prototypes, I think it's the most accurate, lifelike one that I've ever seen. Regardless of what you think of the expression, like, just it's accurate. It's him. It's that actor. I do think that we're going to get the Death Dealer. I mean, if we don't get it from Hot Toys, we'll absolutely get it from like Toys Era or somebody like that. But it shouldn't be a difficult figure for them to make. They don't have to go with an actor likeness. They don't have to do a head sculpt.
That's fine.
It's very straightforward for Hot Toys paint work that they would need to do for the Death Dealer, and I don't think they wouldn't have to engineer a brand new body or anything. I think it's a low cost investment for them. So maybe they don't make a massive run of it. But then again, remember with how well this movie has done and continues to do, and the fact that it so heavily features Chinese actors, Chinese characters, Chinese culture. I think this one is likely to get a little bit more love from Hot Toys. So I would expect that we do get the Death Dealer. I'm not saying immediately. Maybe it's a Toy Fair exclusive next summer. Who knows? But it could just be one of those ones, just like the Mud Trooper and some others, where it's just a very low production run. But I don't see how they don't do it. I mean, I feel like they be leaving a lot of money on the table. It's a badass design. I got
even when Wu looks crazy.
Yeah, this absolutely does. I got vibes with the Death Dealer of what's his name, Nobu, from season 1 of the Netflix Daredevil. Remember when they had that badass fight where he ends up getting lit on fire and like going out the window into the water and stuff?
Yeah.
I got like the Death Dealer like made me kind of flash back to that. I absolutely loved his fight scenes. It was one of those characters that every time he was on screen, your eye was immediately drawn to him. I think it'd be crazy for Hot Toys to pass up on that. I think it's just such a low barrier to entry that I think I say we get it. I absolutely, and I will buy the ever living crap out of it. I guarantee you that.
And those who basically don't know, like, and when I say basically, they kind of scaled him down. And okay, so in Black Panther, we had the tournament. There's always a tournament to basically see who's going to be the new king, and who's going to be anointed in battle. One of Death Dealer's purposes, not just as a trainer, is that when you have actually reached your peak, and in order for you to even take, like, if you want to succeed the king, you have to fight the Death Dealer. If he kills you, that's it. There is no fight to I submit. No, you have to fight unless you conquer him and kill him. There's no way out.
It's Mortal Kombat.
Exactly. And that's how powerful this character is. Like, he, You know what I mean? He just is what he is. And I think that, like I said, I mean, they could explore that. I mean, we could still see another Death Dealer in the next film. You know, we never seen the man behind the mask.
Oh, we absolutely do.
You know, we could definitely actually see that.
Opposed to, it could become a title as opposed to that particular character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Because it's a, you know, it's such a great, easy, you know, not cop out, but you can put any, you know, stunt character in there and then have to train an actor. So it's definitely, you know, somebody a title I'd like to see return. You know, his sister could, you know, invoke a new Death Dealer.
I mean, the character design is just too badass to let go.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do a Darth Maul in the prequel trilogy where it's like, oh shit, cut in half, now he's gone. Yeah. And then they've got to, you know, Dave Filoni's got to figure out a way to bring him back later. And then we really love what's done with him later. But for like a decade or so, we're like, really? That's all we got of the guy? I don't see that happening with this.
Nicole, you were going to say something?
Yeah, with the Death Dealer, the only thing that I started to think of Drax, how Drax in the MCU is so far removed from Drax in the comic book world. I was sitting there, he being Draxed? Like,
yeah.
Because there's more to this. What's going on?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what they do.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, you know, because the MCU is they're you know, known for kind of watering down certain characters, just to kind of put other characters at the forefront. But I understand, you know, I do understand that, but it's just that some certain characters do have importance. You know what I mean? They are really important to the plot, which brings me to like Ben Kingsley, bro. Ben Kingsley, bro. Trevor, bro.
He was brilliant.
I'm all right. I'm just faking.
Yo, he was like, mate, I'm all right. I'm
brilliant. He's like, oh, you see him too?
Yeah.
Love or hate what they did with the character of the Mandarin or not in Iron Man 3. Ben Kingsley was masterful in that movie. When you thought he was the Mandarin, you're like, this guy is badass.
Yeah.
And then when you found out he's not, you're pissed. But he was also so good as that over-the-top drunk Trevor Slattery that you're like...
That Mandarin wasn't in it because Ben Kingsley was so amazing. It was just like, yo, they ruined Mandarin's character. But, yo, that was still... If you're going to ruin him and totally destroy the character, that's really hard to be mad at because it was still hilarious.
Yeah.
But they also didn't because they flat out said, well, he's not really the Mandarin.
They waited to after the movie was out and got backlash to be like, no, that wasn't him. You know, I mean, there's going to be other, you know, they waited until after, like that one shot that was like, oh, there's going to be another Mandarin. That was well after, you know, that movie came out.
It was on the Blu-ray release.
Right, but that was after it was out in the theater. I mean,
currently on Disney Plus.
In the theater, we're thinking that was all the Mandarin we can get.
Now, my question,
okay, at least it was still, you know, great for what it was. But
my question when Wu is talking about, you know, the terrorist pretending to be me, though, is he talking about what's his name from Iron Man 3, or is he talking about the terrorists from Iron Man 1? Because clearly the first Iron Man movie, like those guys did not seem like they really were anything like the 10 rings that we got in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, so you got to remember,
really
like
the 10 rings.
Well, see, the thing is, like, we're talking about the 10 rings that expanded over 1,000 years. You know what I mean? So there were different sets of them. You know what I mean?
It's like it was a third party 10 rings. That's what it was.
Yeah, pretty much.
10 rings K.
Actually, maybe that was the 10 rings kind of without Wenwu, like when he was with his family for that stretch, and then maybe he came back and then.
Good point.
But that was just a little. I was a little confused on that because I was like, wait, because they didn't really have any other nods to the way the 10 rings existed in that first Iron Man movie at all.
Right.
You know what would be crazy? You know what would literally be amazing is that Trevor is such a good actor, a good centerpiece, or
that he is the Mandarin.
Literally, that he could actually be the Mandarin, and that he's just waiting for an opportunity. You know what I mean? Like an opportunist. He's just placed in certain spaces just to kind of buy his time, just to see how it goes. You never know. Like you would never know.
They've made him like a meta character where you don't really know what's what.
You don't. You just know he's there, and he has a way of talking himself out of pretty much everything. But
how could he talk to Morris, by the way? Did anybody pick up on like how is he able to understand what Morris was saying?
Maybe
that's fine.
Maybe Morris drugs with him to telepathically communicate to.
Well,
yeah.
If he's more powerful than he's playing, you know, maybe that would make sense. Listen, I'd be here for him doing a Kaiser Sose, you know, walk away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all of a sudden the limp goes away and he just got swagger now and stuff. Because I'm like, I'm the whole time I'm thinking like, as like Shang-Chi and Katie, I'm like, none of you motherfuckers are asking how do you speak like headless like dog chicken, like none of you guys are asking this question, like how, you know, if it turns out that he was just making it all up and like he wasn't actually conversing with this animal, then
he got him through the forest,
then though. he just used the force to get them through that magical fucking forest apparently.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. That was just one. Again, I love the movie. I'm not shitting on it. It's just that one thing. I'm like, how the hell was he talking to that thing?
See, I thought of it from Morris's standpoint. I talk to and communicate to who I want to.
Yeah. I think and that's what I think it was.
Morris,
okay, all right.
Morris is basically the one who's projecting. Like he's the one who gives you that ability to really understand. Because, like you said,
I accept your retcon.
Like what he said, like what Trevor said, he was like, "Oh, you seem too like so." I'm not just making this up. Like, is this not whatever?
Yeah.
Right. I think it's just one of those things where Trevor. I mean, look at where he comes from. You know, pretty much everyone who comes in contact with him can understand him. You know, at some point. You know, so I think that the longer you're around him, you know, you got to remember Ben Kingsley's character Trevor was there for a while. You know what I mean? So. You never know, you know, you never know how much he picked up and how much he was able to interpret. You know, he probably still had shrooms that lasted longer than what he thought. You know what I mean? You never know. So I don't know. It is basically what it is. But all in all, now the one thing that I really wanted to see, and me and Vinny, we talked about this. We didn't get it, but I understood why. Was the introduction of Fing Fang Foom, man. I wish we would have actually.
I was waiting on that too,
Foom, bro.
I was totally waiting on that.
I don't know. I think that's one of the problematic characters that Nicole was speaking about. They might change name, something. I don't know. They might not ever bring him out.
No, I feel like that would just have been too much for this particular film because if he's going to be brought out, I wouldn't want to see him defeated in the first film anyways, and they have to have had him win at the end of this movie, which is his introduction.
It's one of those things I
feel like the dragon fight at the end of this was kind of testing out the crowd, see how they would feel about something that over the top and fantastic. And if we get Fing Fang Foom in the future, that's like, they can make that almost not an Avengers level villain, but he could be a huge deal. And that's a character that deserves his own whole villain film. If he's going to be, I wouldn't want him to share the villain role with his father. Right. So if I would love to see that in a future film. I mean, they're going to be kind of like shifting a lot of Iron Man's villains off to Shang-Chi, which is kind of like what's happening here. It's more mystical villains anyways, then that's absolutely the top of the line, which you wouldn't want to see just like thrown out there in the first film. So of course, when they're talking about the dragon behind the gates, I'm like, yo, we about to get Fing Fang fucking Foom? Like, no way. But if we had, it probably would have, just like with the Death Dealer comics, like it probably would have been a lot for this film. So I love the thought of seeing him in a possible future film, because a giant talking dragon that's smarter than all of us is such a unique and interesting prospect to see in a future film. And my God, like, we're seeing so many incredible, fantastical, unbelievable things from the comics that we never thought we'd see on film. I, at this point, almost wouldn't be surprised anymore to see a giant talking dragon on screen, and I'm here for it.
But would they do him like in Baku, like they did? Like, we know he was man-ape, but
no,
you know what I mean? They didn't give him that name.
I think they understand that Fing Fang Foom is like, I think they'll do what Fing Fang Foom we'll never see done with Grodd. Just realize just how he's not even supposed to be menacing because he's a dragon. He's supposed to be menacing because he's so intelligent.
Okay.
And I think that that's something that should be saved for, the sole villain of a film, or at least, pushed off to, not to share the time with an introduction to Shang-Chi story, because that's such a, that's one of their big, that's their Galactus type of
Right.
the weird character design. How would you do that on screen?
Yeah.
Not at the power level of a Galactus, but as a transition. No, there's a lot of stuff in comic books that we thought would never transition to screen without it just throwing people off. And Ping Fang Foom is like up there with character designs that we wouldn't, expect to ever really see. It's like there's a lot of things that we want to see, but there's a lot of things as comic book fans we're like, yeah, we ain't ever gonna get that. And that's, I feel like, after what we've seen over the past 13 years from Marvel, now I'm starting to believe we might actually get that. I mean, this movie kind of set up the possibility of that. There's other realms, there's other gates, there's other doors, and the rings are a beacon. For all we know, the rings are a beacon warning him that he has to learn the other elements in order to be able to fight Ping Fang Foom.
Which brings me to my next point, since that's what we're kind of moving into.
Master of segues here.
I want to start with you. I'm gonna start basically and work this backwards. I'm gonna start with you, chicken dish.
I gotta say, it's weird when you call him that.
It's crazy, right?
He knew what he was
crazy,
doing.
right? He knew exactly what he was doing.
It just assumes a level of familiarity that I was not assuming before.
Exactly.
Okay.
What do you think now that we got Shang-Chi? The introduction to this film is such a beautiful, amazing film. Where do you think the MCU is going to go from here? Like, where are we going to go from here? Like, where do you think this character's adventure? What do you think, especially with the slate of movies that we have coming up? What do you think we'll see Shang-Chi next?
I think I got to base it. They gave us a little bit of clue with the mid-credit scene, right?
Yeah.
So we got a little Bruce Banner going on. We got Captain Marvel and Wong. So where's Doctor Strange? Like, what's going on with that? Where was he at? Why is Wong messing around with this ring? So powerful.
True.
Doctor Strange is off doing something. We may see him. You may see him pop up over in Strangeland. I'm not exactly sure. I think we'll probably see him like cameo in another film somewhere at some point.
Yeah,
but
maybe Doctor Strange is missing because maybe that wasn't Doctor Strange in the Spider-Man trailer.
Oh, I definitely wasn't Doctor Strange. There's no way that was Doctor Strange.
So,
I'm sticking with it.
I'm gonna say, you know what? I'm gonna save this part for Corey and Nicole. So I'm not going to mention what I was about to say. I'm gonna save this part for you guys. But, where do you think is going to go, Brendan? Where do you think we're going to go next?
There's so many doors open. I don't think I think we're going to see Shang-Chi in another movie sooner rather than later. I don't think it's going to, maybe even the Eternals. I don't think that early. Although I think you could maybe fit him in somehow. I don't think it's going to be a long time before we see him, though. I really think that he's going to have a significant either in-movie or post-credit scene in another upcoming Marvel movie. And I think he's going to help kind of continue to catalyze whatever we're seeing, that we just got a hint of with Wong and with Captain Marvel and with Bruce Banner, who still has the arm in the sling, so we're kind of, I think that kind of gives us now the other part of that though is he was not Professor Hulk. He was Bruce Banner.
Right.
So, and his arm wasn't all scarred up or anything. It was just
his neck. His neck was kind of healed up as well.
In the sling, yeah. So, did Marvel kind of take into account some of the backlash for how Professor Hulk was handled in Endgame? And are they kind of saying maybe somehow with, the injury from the gauntlet and whatever that, because remember, Hulk has gone back and forth between, brute Hulk to smart Hulk to in between green, gray, so I think that I think that we're going to get a different Hulk than we saw in Endgame, and I think maybe we see a tease of that in the She-Hulk show. So I like that. I think that's going to make a lot of people happy that at least that it has the potential to maybe get Hulk back to the level of badass that he was, because I think we all wanted to see a rematch between Hulk and Thanos in Endgame. We wanted to see Hulk come back and be like, all right, motherfucker, and and get at it. So or at the very least just have Hulk just go through and demolish the whole Black Order, and that's the only thing that stopped him from even getting his hands on Thanos, something like that.
Yeah, there was no payoff for Professor Hulk.
Yeah, so I think that we're going to see something different going forward with Banner and with Hulk, and I think the fact that we saw Bruce Banner and not Professor Hulk is a good indication of that. As far as Shang-Chi goes and where I think we've only had one movie with him, and there's a lot of comic books to tap, so I feel like the sky's the limit for what we get with him, but I do think he's going to be a player. I think he's going to be a significant player in the MCU moving forward. And I love the fact that that'll be the case. I think the rings are going to play a much bigger role given what happened in this movie than we all thought it was going to moving forward in phase 4. We'll see how things play out with his sister and, where that dynamic goes now that she's basically running the 10 rings again. I think there's a lot of potential, so I'm super psyched about that. And if we can get some more Shang-Chi, Katie, and Wong karaoke scenes, I'm all for that too. That shit was fucking funny.
They can dance off with the Baron, right?
The Baron, yeah, right. Baron Zemo all day.
And get Trevor Slattery in there, get him, doing some karaoke. I'm just saying, there's,
there you go.
There's a lot of untapped
That's a Disney Plus
right
series, karaoke with the Avengers.
Definitely,
absolutely.
Vinny, where you think we're going next with this, bro?
5 words: all new, all different Avengers. I feel like we're gonna see, Jane Foster Thor. We're gonna see, Sam Wilson Cap.
Look at that artwork.
Iron Man, Ironheart, and the ground laid for Miles in the future. They're checking boxes and they're not being shy about it. They're trying to involve as many different people to come on board what they're trying to build here as possible. They want to make sure that females, all cultures, all races, everybody's included in this ride. And they're not ashamed of it, and they're not shying away from it. And they're not scared of the backlash of being considered pandering or anything like that. They're trying to kind of correct the ship of what wasn't possible when these characters were written 60 years, 80 years ago. There wasn't going to be a lot of editors or fans buying the comics if there was a Kamala Khan, so there wasn't. But nowadays there are, and if Thor was created now, she might have been a woman. If Captain America was created now, it might have been a black man. We don't know. So now we're getting to see these characters that were kind of reimagined over the past 10, 15 years of them trying to, reshuffle what the world looks like and represent it on a comic book page. Now we're going to get to see that on film, I feel like. So I feel like we're going to see future Avenger movies where we do have Jane as Thor or, Sam is Cap and Miles is Spidey, and I feel like all that's coming. So,
did anybody think we were going to see these characters?
So
Ms. Marvel and and Ironheart and Sam Wilson as Cap, it's crazy. I love it.
They clearly, obviously, are very tied to the source material in the comics, and while there's still hundreds of stories that they can build on, I feel like they're going to skip around and pick what makes sense to what is going on in the world right now. What's going on in the world right now is easily represented by them trying to go to the storytelling direction that all new, all different Avengers try to portray. And we've seen that with Kamala Khan being the star of the Avengers game. We see that with Captain America and Winter Soldier being Sam. I feel like that's where we're going with this. They're trying to make as much money as possible, and if there's fans who aren't seeing themselves on screen, they may be less, they're a little more reluctant to go shell out the dollar. But I mean, think about how much money Shang-Chi is going to make from China.
Yeah.
They are not stupid. They're playing a game on, like you guys said, many levels. So it isn't just about, hey, wouldn't it be cool to see this different? Wouldn't it be cool to get money from this group?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that's the thing is like you said, it's money making machine right now. Pops, 1/6 scale figures, statues, quarter scales, whatever merchandise they can put out, like they're ahead of the game when it comes to it. You know what I mean? So they're already ready. You know what I mean? And
somebody here still got a good 600-700 pops to sell. This guy.
Bro, literally, he has that many pops, bro. He has tons of pops, bro. Like literally.
I need to take time and actually just list them and sell them, but I'm freaking lazy. So
that's a lot of Hot Toys display space, man.
Exactly. Right.
I will speak for the ladies as far as merch is concerned. You have the pops and you have the figures, but you also have the lounge fly bags. So like you have the Thanos backpack, and I have a wallet that is Iron Man's heart, proof that Tony has a heart.
Yeah.
Wallet too.
Yeah, I have an Infinity Stones wallet. I have Rock Love jewelry. So I have my Kamoye beads. So
yeah,
they know what they're doing. Definitely.
Yeah, they definitely know. So let me ask you guys, because we kind of touched on that. We were talking about how Strange isn't strange, wanting to know where. Why Wong was the one, which it made perfectly good sense why. But why Strange wasn't in on that conversation, because this is like a multiverse type of situation. It deals with that why Strange, and I think again they were smart, because we got that episode of What If with Strange last Wednesday before we got Shang-Chi. You know what I mean? Yep. So it was like they wanted to put or plant that seed in our heads about the simple fact that, okay, is the Strange that we're going to actually get in this reality really the Strange that we're going to see on film, or is it a totally different one? Like, you kind of we get an inkling that they, Marvel is setting this up. Like, they're basically getting us ready, to find out where we're going to go as far as, and that's the thing is like, how smart is it for them to set this up knowing that we're going to get Spider-Man, No Way Home in December, and now that's actually etched in our brains. Yep. Before we get that, it's just like, now the talk for the last couple of weeks or now has been Shang-Chi. They've skipped Eternals a little bit after we got that amazing trailer, and they jumped straight into Spider-Man Far From No Way Home. So it's just like, now we know, where we're actually going. Do you think that is a possibility? And I was, because I mentioned this yesterday, Vinny, this, that Shang-Chi is responsible for Spider-Man's fighting style, which is the way of the spider.
Yep,
you know what I mean? So he's really, really responsible for that. And it was a funny banter back and forth between Spider-Man and Shang-Chi in the comics. I have that book. It was incredible. I might put it up like next week. But when you think about that, do you think that when we look at that Spider-Man, and when we finally actually get a chance to see the film, do you think that the Strange that we see, or do you think that, Marvel's just kind of toying around with us right now? They're like, you know what? Don't think too far into it. That's strange, but we just want to throw some things out there to kind of throw you off a bit. Do you think that's what they're doing?
All right. So first, I think, let me say this. The No Way Home trailer, I think, forced Marvel's hand because they leaked it. That leak came out, and I don't think Marvel wanted to release that this early. I think they wanted to release it after Shang-Chi came out. Mm-hmm. That's my first point. Second, I don't think that's Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
No Way Home trailer at all. I hate to say it because it's a curse word right now, but I think it's Mephisto. We know that we know that's the villain in Multiverse of Madness, right?
Nightmare is.
Oh, Nightmare is. Mm-hmm. It's Nightmare then.
Mm-hmm. Which is his son. So
you know what? They're planning this thing so much.
Yes.
They bro, they put Mephisto. Everybody, Mephisto has been on the minds of everybody.
Yeah.
Of everybody, it's been the talk, and that's the thing is like they're so strategic in the simple fact that all those years that we actually got the the first phase, who were we thinking about? Thanos.
Yep.
We've entered this new phase to now all we're thinking about is either Nightmare, Mephisto, Galactus, or the Eternal. Like what? Who? So they're really smart at diverting our attention to something brand new.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here's my thing, and this is one thing that we actually did forget, and I didn't really mention this, is that it would be cool to see Shang-Chi and Blade.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just saying that with What If, the zombie episode coming out. And I'm like, I would have gone for What If vampires.
Yeah.
I think the think tanks.
The Marvel vampires, like Marvel versus vampires, or when they all be like those are some really cool stories. Yeah, that would have been cool.
I hope there's a season 2 of What If. I think what Marvel did in the first 3 phases was they gave us the lesser known characters, and they saw the fandom was there, right? And then they put out the What If series. Okay, let's test these waters. They see that we're all in. They see that we are all in. So
and it got everybody's mind off of the Fox characters. We're not even talking about X-Men or anybody right now.
We thought of Mephisto all through WandaVision. And if you look at the What If Doctor Strange and you slow it up, you see a lot of demonic frames. I think they're getting us ready.
Yeah, I think.
We all know the first time we saw Thanos in the post-credit scene, the theaters erupted.
Yeah, we went crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We're like, yes, we're right.
Yeah.
They need to bring that energy into phase 4, and I think they're going to execute it perfectly.
Sure. Yeah.
And Toya's comment, we'll talk offline because you've got some pieces that I don't have. So
yeah, she's going to get that going. Anyway, listen, we're going to wind this down.
I just want to say one thing before you. I do think that Doctor Strange was not there. And Wong, obviously for reasons, cultural reasons, why Wong was a good choice for them to have in there. I think that he wasn't with Doctor Strange too. The two of them coming. I think Doctor Strange is MIA right there. I agree. I don't believe that Doctor Strange is the Doctor Strange that we saw in the No Way Home trailer. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna say right now, I think Doctor Strange is the villain of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I think that Wanda is going to be the protagonist.
Hey, that could be a twist.
She's going to be going up against an evil Doctor Strange, whether he's controlled or whether he's shanghaied somewhere and is being replaced with Nightmare or Mephisto. But I think that's also when we're going to see her really come even more into her powers. I don't think a lot of people have been thinking that she's going to be like a kind of minor villain or something and going through some. I don't think that's the case. I think Doctor Strange, for a good chunk, as we see Benedict Cumberbatch, I think as a good chunk of that movie, he's going to be the actual villain.
Okay. Well, we just have to wait and see. If that happens, that'd be crazy.
And I would like to say that he's wrong, and that Doctor Strange in that trailer is actually Trevor with one of those.
It's a mask. He's not an LMD. He's not a life model decoy.
No, he's got that Black Widow mask from Soldier, man.
Oh, you talk about the one? Yeah, I got you.
Mission Impossible mask where you can look like
where you can just look like. Yo, that's crazy.
And it's like Face Off. It changes your whole body type too. So people, it's just.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a totally realistic film. Don't judge it.
Don't question John Woo. Yeah.
What'd you say?
I need a shirt that says it was Trevor all along.
Yeah, Trevor all along.
How amazing would that be, though?
That'd be crazy.
6 or 7 movies down the line in this phase, like fucking Ben Kingsley comes out and is like, "Ha motherfuckers here! Look at the puppet strings."
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, yo, what were you gonna say? Petting. Yeah, got you. Anyway, you guys, thanks for coming on. This has been a great show. I didn't do it this earlier, so like I said, I just really before we actually jet out, I want to actually address the chat real quick. Shout out to Mike. Was that Fila? We have Lynch Design. We have Nerdy Nisi. I haven't seen her in a minute, man. Where you at? We have Derek Sandoval, Linda. We have Doc Smizzle in the building. Saya Dream, my man, single songwriter. We have Toya T, baby. I'll be up in a second. Let's see who else we have here. We have Lynch Design, William Owens in the building. We have who else? I did actually see here earlier. We did have Collector's Own in there. Marcos, I did see you here earlier.
Yeah, he said it was just a drive-by.
He was a drive-by. Philip the Fool was in the building. We have quite a few. Joe Mama, Joe Mama, 007. That's dope. So yeah, we have quite a few people in here. Thanks for showing up tonight, man, and being a part of this.
And just remember,
yeah,
the Collector's Own, the giveaway that they're doing.
Yeah, I'm going to mention that in a second.
Leel's at 904, so he's got to get to 1,000. So we only have 96 more subscribers before I have to stop dropping F-bombs because he can monetize the channel.
Yeah,
so, just hurry it up.
Exactly. We got. Listen. Once we reach that 1,000, I didn't actually. It's actually sitting over there, but there's a giveaway. It's actually going to be the half scale child in the trail, the pilot chair. So that is the giveaway. We will be giving that away once we reach 1,000. So remember, always suggest it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, tell your friend, tell your neighbor. This is where you want to be. Always. We will make the announcement possibly this Thursday. At the Uncivilized Scoundrels reveal. So we'll actually see how that goes. But yeah, once we reach 1,000, we will actually let that go. And it'll go to one lucky winner. You just got to get to 1,000 first, and we'll actually see it. But before I leave here, really quick, and then I'll let everybody go. Like I said, we did lose somebody today. And we want to actually always pay homage to those who came before. It's actually a family member of mine. Near and dear to my heart, always, was there to just instill a little bit of knowledge and, just always give insight and, tell me certain things that I needed to know along my journey. You know him from such shows as The Wire, such films or such shows as even like Lovecraft Country, I'm sorry. He was also in the what was it? What was the name of the film? It was one of your favorites, Brendan.
Well, he was the only good thing about the Assassin's Creed
movie. Yeah, so he was basically great in that. So none other than Count. Yeah, exactly. Michael K. My brother, my family. Really tight. Always did instill wisdom. Sad to see you go this early, man. Like I said, you had a promising future. Just knowing where you were going to go, where you were going to actually be. Hats off to your career, which you've actually brought to all of us. Just from an entertainment value and aspect, but just being a human being. And he was a really huge humanitarian. And also he gave back to the community. That was one thing that he always wanted to instill. So. Again, hats off, rest in peace, moment of silence for him just for a few seconds, man. Yeah, most definitely, man. Rest in peace. We will see you again. And I know you up there looking down like, yo, I'm resting in glorious company right now. So, again, thanks everybody for actually coming up. Jetta, what you got going on next, man?
I'm just enjoying my vacation, man. That's pretty much it. I'm building stuff. I'm probably going to make some videos this week.
Okay.
I've got lots of boxes to open and videos to make, so I probably will do one or two. Other than that, I'm just chilling.
You just chilling.
I never relax. I never ever just do nothing. So I'm going to try and do that.
You're just going to try to basically relax. Okay. Brendan, what you got coming up next besides, our Wednesday night show with Ray? Ray.
Dude, I can't
Phoenix.
wait for that. I absolutely cannot.
Jetta, you're welcome too. You want to come aboard? You on vacation, but if you want to stop through,
observe. I'm just going to observe Will and see what happens. I just want to.
Okay.
That's gonna.
Oh, that's gonna be pretty funny. That's gonna be pretty funny. So
he's gonna ask her out on a date to fucking Olive Garden, man. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to it, man. I've followed her for a while. I love her. Like, her cosplay is next level. That pin we both got.
Yeah.
My daughter absolutely loves that thing. She was dropping another one today, I think. And so I'm really really looking forward to that. Other than that, I now have what he's got over there. I don't have Jetta coming. I've got the guy next to him.
Trevor.
I've got Trevor that will be on the way
coming
shortly.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have that, and then I'm hoping that tomorrow Venom arrives.
Okay.
I've got he's in New York. I'm in Boston, hoping that it makes its way here tomorrow. It should.
Yeah.
So I know we talked about maybe doing an unboxing here, but we also got Wednesday and Thursday night, so maybe we skip that one. I know Collecting Weekly is doing a stream about Venom tomorrow. Maybe we jump on and hijack their stream, and I'll jump in with Venom. But so Venom and Trevor coming this week, and then the stream on Wednesday, and then I'm looking forward to Uncivilized Scoundrels on Thursday. So it's a packed week.
Definitely, man. Vinny, what you got coming up, bro?
Man, there's so much stuff on the slate for September and October. I'm looking forward to Black Panther, Man-Thor. I'm looking forward to New York Comic Con. Hopefully that's still good. We lucked out last Thursday. Toy and Leo were able to be on the computer where I was at work, and we were to snag Saturday tickets, which get the first round. So I'm really excited for that.
That's the Anakin day.
Yeah, I've been really excited trying to go through my list and see what keys I want to pick up at the con, because I've been trying to behave and not buy too much stuff online, because I'm going to be going there. And then I got earlier sundowns, so more free time at night. So I'm looking forward to getting back in the lab and drawing more. I got October coming up next month, and there's a lot of nagging pieces in the back of my head that I want to get out of my head and on paper. So looking forward to more time to draw for sure.
Got you. Corey, Nicole, what y'all got coming up, man, on road tripping? What's up?
So we just got back from Cedar Point, so I'll be putting up a Cedar Point vlog sometime this week.
Okay.
We also got our real reviews of What If. We do those. I try to drop those. I try to drop those same day, but it usually doesn't work out. So it's usually on a Thursday.
Yeah.
So we have that as well.
And then we have our What If, What's Next. So we go live every Monday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about what we think is going to happen on that current week's episode of What If.
Yeah, see that, and that's because the way y'all do it, I mean, it's exciting. Like, it's always on. Like, I've always, like I said, I'm always expecting the actual episode to drop. Like literally, it's just always there. So, very happy, extremely happy to see y'all moving, man. Like, I can't wait. So definitely, everybody out there, do subscribe to prescribe, just to these posts, these individuals. Subscribe to the channel, hit all the videos that you actually see, like them. Come on, man. Like, let's just get this going, because it's incredible. Like, it's literally incredible. Like, and just to give you a preview really, really quick, episode 1 of what you're going to actually see this week on the Scoundrels. Really quick. Like I said, now, for anybody that doesn't know, the Uncivilized Scoundrels is a Star Wars show, so we'll be actually talking about that, kind of reaching into that realm. So just to kind of give you a sneak peek of what we will actually be, talking about.
All about his love for Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, so we will be talking about these things, the build up on Hope, with some of the new shows coming, such as Obi-Wan, such as the Cassian Andor, Mandalorian, and also Visions. So actually, we will be tackling that on the first episode. Hopefully, then we will be giving away. And like I said, hopefully, if we reach 1,000, we will be giving away that Grogu and Pilot Chair half scale set. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, man, thanks everybody for coming. It's been an amazing episode. Glad to have all my friends here, everybody and my family here. Again, tune into everybody's channel, everyone's Instagram, their YouTube channel. Follow these guys most definitely. Stay tuned for the next episode. Again, I will see you back here on Say What with Ray Kennix, the cosplayer, on Wednesday night, 9:15. So definitely you don't want to miss that. She's going to give us a lot of insight on, just cosplayers. I'll be joined by, Brendan. We'll have Will Foxification, aka Pretty Boy, and I think Justin's going to join us that night as well. So there's going to be a few people in, and you'll be able to ask questions, and I'm pretty sure she'll take those questions head on. But again, thanks
Justin
everybody.
Just needs a distraction for not having seen Shang-Chi yet.
Yeah, no, man. It's gonna be a while. You're muted, bro. You're muted.
Oops. I'll say good luck not talking about Shang-Chi with Justin.
Yeah, I know, man. Sorry about that, Justin. Anyway, he'll see it. He'll eventually see it. So
in another like 40.
Everybody should just message him false plot lines.
Bro, he would get pissed. He'll get pissed and block everybody, bro.
One of us drop in a real one, and then he just has to see. And then as it happens, as he finally watches it, he's like, "Motherfucker!"
Yeah, that's it.
It'd be like when Kenobi showed up in the third act. That was crazy.
Straight up, that'd be crazy.
When it turns out Trevor really is the Mandarin.
You're not going to see it coming.
You know what? Thanks for coming. To everybody on the panel, for everybody out there, pretty much in the chat, we love y'all. Again, love what you do every day. Collect, watch these films, and enjoy life, man. This is like the nerdy. This is the nerdy community that we actually submerge ourselves in. We love it, so we got to hold it sacred. Again, cherish tomorrow. You never know. Tell your loved ones, exactly. Tell your loved ones that you love them, man, because you never know what can happen tomorrow. So always make sure to remember those you love. Anyway, we out. From here, Say What? It's Lael Rockwell signing out. Let's go.